Welcome to the second part of the MoYu factory tour. In this part we're going to be looking at the factory building itself, and this building is composed of multiple different floors. On the first floor here we have the injection molding. So we just walked by a few bags with plastic, and we're going to walk by a few more. And in the back of the room you can see the green machines over there. Those are the actual machines which do the injection molding to make the pieces of the cubes. Now, we didn't have that many close shots because MoYu did not want us to film too closely because the molds themselves are trade secrets. But we do have this footage from one of their publicities, so we can see a little bit better what it looks like. And here's the plastic coming out of the machines. Now these machines actually run 24/7, so there's always going to be machines running to produce more parts, because that's it is the most costly part of the process. The molds are in fact one of the main differentiating factors in between MoYu cubes and cubing classroom cubes. I could talk more about that in another video if you're interested. The fifth floor is when they start doing the actual assembly of the cube. So they take the parts that were originally made and they start putting them together. Note that unfortunately though, the footage that I took on this floor is more or less in reverse order. So we're starting at the end of the cubes and then going towards the beginning of the cubes. So here we have putting the caps on the cubes, which is pretty much the final thing in assembling the cubes. And here these particular people have the technique of having a lot of cubes, just spreading the caps all over all the cubes, and then going and trying to turn those cubes around so that you can get the different face, and it can be more or less efficient, kind of depending how that works. It also looks pretty cool when it's done. Now over here we have two people. We've got the person on the close to the wall there that's putting in the beginning of the cube and then handing it over to the next person, who then puts up the cubies to finish off the cube there. And here we have the step of putting the screws on the core. So there's a little bit of a machine there that she's using, and it's sort of like a kind of press that when you pull on the lever, what it does is that it turns the shaft, and so it allows, and it brings the thing down, so it allows you to screw on the screw at the same time. That's what it looks like up close. And I think it's a pretty cool machine. It's very useful for the assembly of the cubes. It's also the cube glue there that they use. They also have similar machines which just put edges together, but I don't think I have any shots of this in here. And here you can see that they're still assembling cubes. And notice that almost every cube that they're doing here is an MF3RS3M. And that's because usually when they go into production of a cube, they do mainly that in the whole factory. So right now they are producing a few other cubes, but really it's definitely mainly MF3RS3Ms. As you can see, they're everywhere in the factory. But like here, there's a 4x4 that's being assembled, so they still do a few other things at the same time. Probably because the 4x4 is in high demand, but they still want to make sure that the MF3RS3M is the primary thing which is in production. Beside the first assembly line, we can see there's another assembly line that's more or less the same as the one that we just saw. There's people assembling cubes. We have all of the parts sprawled around everywhere so that they can get access to them more easily. Now this one has something that's a little bit different. You can see people that are taking pieces away from the plastic supports which are required for the molds, and that plastic is actually going to be returned to the molds a little bit later so that it can be recycled and reproduced again. And the rest of the floor is more or less the same. Now we're going to be moving on to the fourth floor, where we're doing final touches to the cubes which are already assembled. So that usually includes things like lubing the cube, stickering the cube if that applies, and then finally packaging it up. Packaging every cube into their little box and then putting all of the little boxes into the big boxes so that it's ready for shipment. Here we have somebody that's stickering some square ones. So with these square ones, as they seem to do with every cube in this factory, they're doing 3 cubes at a time. So they have the stickers on a little sheet with 3, and then they use the application tape, and they put it on the application tape, and they just go and stick it on. Interestingly, while in the factory, there were actually some stickers that we were not allowed to film because they were specifically made for private events, and that is not something that MoYu wants us to be showing all around. Here we can see the next step, or one of the next steps, which is the packaging. So you see this lady here, she's putting plastic around boxes, and beside it you have all the little things that you have to put in the boxes. So it seems that her responsibility is putting things in the boxes as well as putting the plastic around it. So there's the little cards, there's little blue things, all those little tools that MoYu likes to put in their boxes, as well as probably, spare magnets and all of that. Now here we have somebody who seems to be putting plastic on cubes, and here we have big boxes that are usually used for shipping the puzzles. and I guess she's probably putting plastic around them, I'm not entirely sure. Moving on, we're going to see some more of the same. We're also going to be seeing some packaging, some boxes and things like that. But something that I found particularly interesting is that you're going to see right here is different product that MoYu does. So MoYu doesn't only exclusively rely on twisty puzzles, they also manufacture a lot of other different types of plastic toys. They have, of course, the Rubik's Cubes, which we all know, but at the same factory and owned by the same business, even though they may or may not also call themselves MoYu. They also make speed stacking equipment, like we just saw, as well as Lego type toys and perhaps other plastic toys as well. On the 6th floor is the pre-packaging storage, so where the cubes go after being assembled, but before being packaged and sent out to the customers. I had a little bit of extra fun doing videos on this floor.
Ready cube.
But clearly, they're not ready because there's no stickers.
Yeah, but this
It's a joke. Ready cube? They're not ready. There's no stickers. These are actual ready cubes because they're packaged.
GTS, maybe GTS 2? Oh, GTS 2.
So this floor just has a ton of those blue bins, and all of those blue bins are full of the cubes that have already been assembled. And there's a bit of other things in this floor, but it's primarily this. And this kind of serves as a purpose of I suppose a flexible storage. So when they first make a cube, they make a ton of that cube. And then they take the cube and then they put it into this room where it's nicely organized, so you can see there's certain areas that belong to certain cubes. And they're put here until there's somebody that orders them. And then once they get a big bulk order, they would go to this room and then they would go and pick up all the cubes, and then they would bring them to the other room so they could go and package them and then finally send them out to everyone. I actually talked to them about the MoYu clock, but they said they were not able to get anything good after all the money they put into it. So unfortunately, it seems as though, at least in the close future, there's no luck for clock enthusiasts. The last 2 floors that we have left are in fact exclusively for storage pre-shipping. So all of the boxes here are full of cubes that have already been packaged, and all they have to do is to be shipped out to the retailers or wherever they're sending them to. Now, this floor is actually only cube and classroom cubes. I also like to pull some pranks. So just watch me be amazed how many cubes there are.
Hey. Cubes. Cubes.
And this is just one of multiple floors in this building, which is full of cubes. The 3rd floor and the last floor, which we have left to see in this factory, is very similar to the last floor that we saw. The main difference between this floor and the last floor is that every cube on this floor is actually MoYu.
And you thought there were a lot of cubes at the cubicle? You were wrong. There's a lot of cubes here.
Although there isn't really anything new to see on this floor, it's still pretty darn amazing, once again, to see just the sheer number of cubes that there is in this factory. There really is so many.
Yeah, because we have
All of these are 15 by 15 Rubik's Cubes. In each box, there are 3 15 by 15s.
Okay. Including classroom cubes are cheap.
Here we have the MoYu cards. Got some Cantin here. Some Fang Haowei. Some more cards over here. So, Drew Brad's in here. Wen Kaiwang. Livia. And am I here? Whoa! Santing Ge. Found myself. Oh. Almost out of stock. 怎么办?
Highly demanded.
This is
David Chen.
老板
David Chen.
And that concludes my video. Gone through all of the MoYu factory in both parts. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you saw a lot of new things, but I'm sure that you have a lot of questions as well. So if you have any questions regarding MoYu, regarding the factory, really anything, if there's enough demand, I might do a video of explaining myself, or I might just answer the comments. But either way, if you want to know something, just go ahead and comment, and I'll do the best that I can to try and address it. Thanks so much for sticking through this 10-minute video. I'm looking forward to seeing you next time.